everyone, I'm so glad that you're here for the final week of a series that we're calling What Was I Made For? Now in this series, we've been spending our time talking about our identity, and today we're continuing that conversation. So if we haven't met yet, my name is Ashley, and I'm so excited about this conversation. So to get us started, I'd love to know, have you ever been roasted before? You know what roasting is, right? It's when someone is made fun of because of something they were wearing or something they did or something they said. Most of the time, roasting is just for fun and laughs. And whether with family or friends, I think it's safe to say that we've all been roasted about something. Okay, so when I was in middle school, I was invited to a costume party. And I was so excited about this party, I was determined my costume was gonna be a supermodel. And so I got all dressed up and I spiked out my hair, and it was just my version of what I thought supermodels look like. Y'all, I walked into the party and everyone turns around at me and starts cracking up laughing. They called me everything except for a supermodel. They were like, oh, look at Ashley, she looks like a clown. Is that your costume? I was crushed, but honestly, I kind of secretly laughed too. Like, I knew that my friends were just playing around and that was just their way of having fun. You see, roasting culture isn't something that's new. It's been a thing that enemies and even friends have done forever. But here's the thing. In the moment when we're being roasted, we pretend that it doesn't hurt us. Or we pretend that others' opinions of us just don't matter. We just roast them back and move on. No harm, no foul, right? No, wrong. If we're really honest, later on when we're alone and have time to think about it, we realized that it did kind of hurt. Like, I actually did go home from that party feeling like I totally missed it on my costume. And when we're alone with our thoughts, we start to feel what they said a little bit more. And the words that they said that we pretended didn't hurt us at first, they begin to hurt. The person who said those things isn't there anymore, but their words are. We start internalizing those words, and we know that what they said was just supposed to be a joke, but it doesn't always feel like that now. It feels very real, and we start to wonder if maybe they were right about us. Now, even more than that, what if what was said about you, that's something that really hurt you, is something you can't change, like a costume? Sometimes things are said about us in a joking way that we really can't do anything about, which makes it sting so much more. And that person's words, opinions, or maybe even their actions start to take over our thoughts, especially when it comes from someone we know and care about. Now, sometimes we aren't teased or roasted directly. It happens through gossip, through what people are saying about us behind our backs, or the rumors that people are spreading about us. It could even be the comments said about us on social media. Why do we allow what people say about us and the opinions of other people take over our lives and thoughts? Why do we give so much power to people who really don't have the authority or the understanding to say anything about us? They don't really know you. They don't really know your whole story. They don't know your family. They don't know the things that you've been through. They don't understand the life circumstances that have shaped who you are, or your struggles or your triumphs. They don't know your real interests or your hobbies, the things that bring you the most joy. They don't know the real you. So why do we continue to let someone else's opinions of us have power over us? When we focus on the things that others say about us, we can lose sight of who we really are and who we were created to be. When we let people write our story for us, we miss out on the story that God has already been writing and is currently writing for our lives. We can lose focus on the things that God has already said about us, and more specifically today, what God has already said about you. So, thousands of years ago, a man named David wrote about this very issue. Now, David is pretty famous in the history of Israel. He fought the giant Goliath and won. He eventually became king of Israel. He was also a pretty accomplished songwriter. And what I'm about to show you comes from one of the most famous songs he ever wrote. In fact, it's one of the most famous passages of scripture ever written. You made all the delicate inner parts of my body and knit me together in my mother's womb. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. Your workmanship is marvelous. How well I know it. You watched me as I was being formed in utter seclusion, as I was woven together in the dark of the womb. You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed. How precious are your thoughts about me, O God. They cannot be numbered. I can't even count them. They outnumber the grains of sand. And when I wake up, you are still with me. Now, what kind of music do you hear with these lyrics? Is it a country song, R&B, yacht rock? I mean, what even is yacht rock? Anyway, regardless of the genre, don't miss the meaning. David was making sure that you know God is the one who created you. God formed you in the womb. David wrote that God knows what's going on in your life. God sees what you're doing and cares about it. No matter what you're going through, no matter what someone says about you, God is always there. Now, not only did God create you, but God also knows you. You are known by the creator of the universe. God knows your name. God knows what you're like and what you like. God knows what you're going through. God knows what people are saying about you and how it makes you feel. God knows when you're happy and when you're sad. God knows about your parents or if they got divorced or not. God knows about the rumors being spread. God knows the things that no one else knows about. And God cares about that. And God cares about you. And not only did God know you, but God thinks about you like a lot. Have you ever considered that the creator of the universe thinks about you? You are a really big deal to God. So what can you and I do with that? Here's what I'd love for you to consider. When someone says something unkind about you, you will almost always be left with the thoughts and the feelings and maybe even the embarrassment of whatever was said. But the person who said it is not even thinking about you anymore. Now, in those moments, I want to encourage you to remember that God is constantly thinking about you. And when God thinks about you, God thinks good things. Good things because God made you. God sent Jesus to die for you and brought Jesus back to life so that God can have a relationship with you. God made you wonderfully and marvelously. No matter what anyone else says about you, this is the truth. What God says about you matters the most. And that's true because the creator of the universe says it's true about you. The only person who has the authority to say anything about you is the one who created you. So the next time someone says something about you and you find your thoughts just taken over by their words, remember this: I am made for more than what others think of me. So when you move to group, ask yourself this question: how can you remember what God has said about you?